The end of the semester has finally arrived, which means the Prospector Podcast Season 12 also has to come to an end. And for our last episode, we are going all out. We're starting it off on the political spectrum, talking to Matthew Gardea, who's running for a city council position in Horizon. And then after that, well, get your tissues ready because we are talking to every single member of the Prospector staff, ranging from staff members to editors who are graduating this semester. We also get a blast from the past. What exactly does that entail? Well, stay tuned. You're watching the Prospector Podcast, Season 12, Episode 8. For the final time this season, I'm Sebastian Perez-Navarro. After 8 episodes in what I think is the longest episodes or the largest amount of episodes in which we've had in the semester, our podcast for this semester has finally come to an end. And we possibly have one of the most important interviews with us. Joining us right now is Matthew Gardea, who just graduated last semester or graduated in August, and he's already running for a political position in the El Paso area. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here with you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It is the graduation episode, so we're picking up on someone who recently graduated. Matthew, you're extremely young. What has it been like being on the campaign trail, dealing with people who are older than you, and trying to run for office or trying to make a message?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, for some context, I've served on our city's Planning and Zoning Commission for about 5 years now. So this August will mark 5 years of service as Horizon City's youngest Planning and Zoning Commissioner. So I definitely have experience in working with older people twice, 3 times my age. And you know what? I've had a lot of fun on the campaign trail, being able to talk to people. And you know what? Something I've been learning is you don't know there's a problem until you know. And that's why it's important that every candidate be out talking to the community and trying to learn what are people's priorities this upcoming election cycle.
Matthew's a former student. Meanwhile, down to my right, Ximena Cordero, who is starting the show as a co-host. Cam will be with us, no worries. Ximena wrote the original article for the Horizon City Council story. Kristian Hernandez, who is down to my left. Kristian has his own backstory when it comes to voting, whether nationally or locally, so it's going to make for a very interesting conversation. But Ximena, you got the chance to cover every single person running for Horizon City Council, and while writing that story, you told me that the biggest message out there was just to get people to vote, because not many people are paying attention to local elections.
Yeah, especially like we were talking during the interview, especially Horizon elections. A lot of people don't even know that Horizon has a mayor or is a city council or has like elections of their own, much less. And we already see such like a low turnout in local elections here in El Paso, probably even less in Horizon. Have you seen like a little bit of an increase now that like early elections are starting? Have you seen more people kind of pick up that there is, elections out there?
Yeah, definitely. Especially back in 2023, we had 7 candidates run for mayor out in Horizon City, so we saw huge voter turnout. Well, by Horizon City definitions, we had about 800 people vote, and so typically less than 1,000 people vote per election cycle. I know last time in 2021, we had about 400 people vote, so it's slowly ticking up.
And I'm just wondering, like for campaigning, is it strictly digital? Is it all online, or are you able to do any in-person events or anything like that?
Oh, you know what? I've been going door to door. I think it's important that candidates engage with voters and that we really understand what are some of the issues. We've been hearing a lot of issues with different various city departments and how we can better allocate our budget to really meet the needs and priorities of Horizon City residents.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people live in the Horizon area, more than you'd expect that come to UTEP. Joseph Ezekiel Montero is one of them, who's going to be in the episode on a little bit later. We have our sports editor, Sofia Sierra, and finally our advertising videographer, Elias Segura. But not many people know the difference between Horizon City and El Paso, Texas as a city.
Yeah, Horizon City, it's a municipality in Far East El Paso. We have about 26,000 residents, and it actually started off as a retirement community with 2,500 people, and it was incorporated back in 1988. So we've definitely seen a lot of change since then.
Is it similar to Canutillo and how it's a city, or is that a completely different?
Yeah, you know what? Canutillo, it's its own municipal government. Of course, you also have the towns of Clint, the city of Socorro. So there's a bunch of small, not only incorporated communities, but also unincorporated communities here in El Paso County.
For it being such a small city that doesn't get a lot of attention, what is City Council doing to try to see it grow into a city that people can take seriously, such as an area like Miami, which has several small cities like Doral?
You know what? Horizon City was planned to be the city of the future. It's supposed to be this metropolis, if you will. And so we had a lot of foreign investments come in, buy different land. And so now we're seeing that nearly 30, 40 years later, we're having issues acquiring land because there's so much different ownership, right? And so right now we're working on our TOD, which stands for transit-oriented development. It's about a 64 to 84 acre parcel right in the center of Horizon City. That's going to be downtown Horizon. It's going to have 4 or 5 story buildings, ground level shops, apartment units, multifamily units, office spaces, the likes. And so that's definitely one of the priorities of City Council, particularly Mayor Renteria, who has really been trying to make that a focal point to, increase people coming into our city. And we also want to acquire more land. We want to annex more land. We're working with the Texas Land Office. Our Economic Development Corporation has been coordinating with them with various meetings to, we're landlocked. We're about 8 square miles and we need some more land so that we can make strategic investments in both manufacturing and industrial investments.
Ximena, you covered this whole story at the beginning of April. Right now, as we're uploading this episode, elections have already passed, but are there any ways in which people can continue to be part of their community, even though the ballot box may be closed?
I mean, always staying informed. I feel like a lot of the candidates I talk to is, going to town, meetings, town halls, or city halls?
City halls.
Going to those meetings, going to, the websites, the official websites of these cities, and just kind of getting informed even when there isn't elections. We should always be informed of what's happening in our city, even when there isn't something we can actively be necessarily doing. So yeah.
Matthew, the final thing I want to ask you is, you're a former graduate. You spent some time now as an alumni of UTEP. One of the biggest things in which a lot of people feel, whether they're graduating from high school or graduating from college, is wanting to leave El Paso. It's a negative stigma in which leaders like Bernard Johnson have said they actively want to stop the brain drain. Now, representing a smaller city, how do you convince graduate students to stay in El Paso rather than leaving to other cities in the U.S.?
Yeah, definitely. UTEP has been making strategic investments in our university over the past several decades. And an issue we have is we invest in our students here in El Paso, and they end up having to go to Austin, Houston, Dallas, some of those larger cities for some of those more advanced jobs that require higher education. And so what small towns like Horizon City can do is, we need to acquire more land and really create strategic partnerships with mid and large-sized businesses so that we can have better paying jobs right here at home. I think it was a bigger figure, around 65% of the dollars made in Horizon City are actually spent outside of Horizon City. So if we can increase our land, if we can increase strategic investments with businesses, we're going to really prevent that brain drain from happening. It's not an issue that Horizon City is facing, and it's an issue that the entire county is facing. So, from a strategic standpoint, it's really up to us to be engaged, go out and vote. Early voting has already started. Early voting is from April 22nd through the 29th, and Election Day is May 3rd. So if we want to see some really great stuff come into not only Horizon City, but here in El Paso, we need to really increase voter turnout.
Matthew, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I'll give you a chance to say whatever you would like to the constituency watching.
No, awesome. Well, first of all, this will be aired after Election Day, right? So, I want to thank everybody that's supported and that has made campaign contributions, that has helped me knock on doors. And, we've got some really big things in store for Horizon City, and I look forward to working with everybody.
Matthew, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We're going to keep it rolling. It's the graduation episode. We're going to be hearing from Prospector staff members who are going to graduate up in the spring, and even a former staff member in which not too many people know about. Stay tuned. You'll see who we're talking about. You're watching the Prospector Podcast, Season 12, Episode 8, a.k.a. the last episode. The graduation episode needs people who have graduated. Cam, you're not one of them.
Nowhere close.
Nowhere close. It's our first year. Cameron Mason is back as a co-host. Thank you, Cam. We substituted Kristian Hernandez. Thank you for your contributions in the last episode. SalmaPaola Baca is back with us. She started off in episode number 1. She was in the previous episode, the Minecraft episode. We dedicated 2 segments to that, which means we have to dedicate a ton of segments to graduation as well. Salma, you have been promoted. Sadly, you won't be promoted next semester because you're leaving. You're graduating.
Yeah, that's true.
Now,
It's okay.
to my left is a Prospector legend in which too many people who currently work at the Prospector office don't know much about, because you created your legend 3 years ago. I fortunately got the chance to meet you back when Emmanuel was EIC last semester. Albert Silva Fernandez, whose full name is Alberto, but he gave us the green light to call him Albert. Albert is a former editor-in-chief. He was an EIC back in 2022, and he was incredibly young while he did it, almost our age. Albert, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I wouldn't call myself a legend, per se.
Well, you were an EIC, like, what, at 19, 20?
If I was 22, I know how to do math. Yeah, I was about 19.
That's... This guy was EIC while he was our age. Salma, do you think we could be? Do you think we're EIC material for like a fall or spring semester at our current age right now?
I think for a fall or spring semester, yes.
He said A. It was A.
Well, I was also just EIC for a semester. I didn't go longer than a semester.
Well, Albert is graduating. He has an opinion piece out on the Prospector Daily. Check it out, the www.prospectordaily.com. I don't know how many times I've done that in this entire series or semester. It is our last episode. Albert, it's an honor to have you. Just walk me through, what was it like being EIC that young? What was the Prospector like 3 years ago? You worked with Salma. She's currently, I think, the only employee who worked with you back when you were EIC, and is still employed today, because our EIC Avery missed out by one semester working during your EIC reign.
Yeah. I was 19. By the time I finished the EIC position, I was about to turn 20. Part of it was a lot of luck, I will say. There's a reason why a lot of people aren't EIC very young, partially because experience is a really important thing, but also I just got really lucky. So the way it kind of worked out, Anaí Diaz, who was the EIC when I was before I became photo editor, she was graduating. So the position had opened up, and no one had applied yet. It was the winter, and no one had applied. So, excuse me, I'm so sorry. It was the summer, no one had applied. I was working during the summer. It was me and another guy, his name was Julian. Julian was the EIC before me. And so we both looked at each other and said, "You want to apply?" And that's how it went. So we both said, screw it, and we applied together. And the way it worked out is we both did our interviews. The committee talked for quite some time, and they couldn't really come to a full consensus on who should be EIC. So the way they decided it was Julian, who was graduating in the fall of 2021, he would be EIC first. After he graduated, I would take over in the spring of 2022. And that's how it worked out. So partially was because of just pure luck and coincidence and circumstance. A lot of people graduated during that time, so we're just really short on numbers. To be honest with you, I never really thought about just how young I was when I became EIC. I knew I was incredibly lucky to be in the position I was so early and so quickly, because there wasn't a semester that I missed that I didn't get a promotion. So I started at the Prospector in October of 2020, right during the pandemic. Started just as a contributor, then immediately got moved up to staff photographer, then immediately got moved up to photo editor, then immediately got moved up to EIC. So again, part of that, just pure luck. I would like to say it was mostly because of my work, but I do understand that, right? People stay at the Prospector for, at least a year before being able to move up sometimes, just because of pure circumstance. So I was incredibly lucky to do it at such a young age. It was very stressful. Thankfully, I had the help of Tracy, who was the advisor during the time. She's an incredible human. She is super knowledgeable about everything journalism-wise. She is super kind, super patient, and she was the person who really guided me the entire way throughout my time as EIC. She's the reason I succeeded, really.
You know, Albert, I'm going to use this against you. I'm sorry. You told me that you're going to open your resume just in case for any questions we may have. I don't think that could properly define how Albert was as EIC. Salma, I want to ask you, you weren't hired by Albert. That was the time that you were a work study. But what was the environment like being ran by a 19-year-old?
Well, as an outsider, because I wasn't in the Prospector staff, to me, it seemed like chaotic in a good way. Like, I could see everyone, like, having fun. I saw that it was stressful, but they still managed to, like, produce the paper, get their work done. I would, like, not work with them, but I'll look like how they worked. And I'm like, oh, that seems like a fun environment. That's what, like, made me want to apply for contributor. So I'd say it was a really cool environment.
I will admit, Salma was very curious, even as a work study. Like, it was very clear Salma wanted to do more than just be a work study. She was very involved. Maybe she didn't outright say it at the time, but she was, like, always kind of peeking her head out the window, like, always had the door open to kind of see what was going on in the office. I never really talked with Salma much while she was work study, though, which I'm a little sad about. But
I was ignored. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's okay. It's okay.
No, but I mean, like, she was always someone that seemed very curious. So the year after I was EAC, that's when Salma became a contributor.
Mhm.
So when I saw that, not only was it, like, very exciting for myself, but a lot of the people at the office were like, oh my God, Salma, you finally decided to become a contributor. It was like this really cool moment because we all knew she wanted to do it. It was just when she did it. And so when she did it, it was a very nice moment. I think it was very cool. And to see how far you've kind of come in the time that I've left has been really cool. Like, I've been following all your work and all the things you've done with not only the Prospector and Montero, and it's been really, really interesting to just see, like, the growth you've had, and especially in your photography as a photographer is just, it's really amazing. And I love the work that you do, and I'm really excited for you to graduate, and I hope you keep doing your photography, even after all of this. I think it's great work, and I think that's one of the really important things is, even though I've left, is I've always kept up with the Prospector and the people who work with it, even if they don't, really know me. Like, over here, we have a couple of people who I've only recently met this semester.
We have a whole live studio audience. We can only flip the camera over there.
Like, I've only met most of these people this semester, or even then, it's been like a handful of times that I've gotten to meet them. But I've been following the work that they've done this whole time because I love keeping up with young journalists. I love trying to encourage young journalists to do as much as possible. I mean, I met Isaiah when he was in high school. It's not like I got to talk to him a lot, but we met in high school when he was in high school, and watching him not only A, apply to be at the Prospector, but B, work his way up to be an editor and also a photo editor at Montero, and seeing his photography grow and, like, him develop a photography style has been something that's been super, super cool to watch.
One of the biggest traits in which I think Cam has had since he started as a contributor is that they've been putting you a lot on the photography side. That's a lot of what you did back when you were at the Prospector, checking your profile. It's photo, photo, photo. And that's what you've continued to do. So, Cam, what's it been like? You originally thought, I'm going to come in and write articles, and now all of a sudden you're taking photos the majority of the time.
Yeah, I mean, back in high school when we went together, we did a lot of video stuff, and we weren't taking photos a lot, but definitely wanted to get more involved and just expand my horizon, just to be able to, be in that position, just where, hey, Cam, go take photos, and I can go do that and stuff like that. And of course, I'm still improving, every week, but yeah.
So, Albert, first of all, I want to ask any advice for the youngins, because you left the Prospector for what I think is a really good reason, and you were telling me the other day is you outgrew it. Seeing what you've done, the companies in which you've worked for, like the El Paso Times, how do you think that your time at the Prospector, while being so short yet so impactful, has helped you in the multiple places in which you've worked at later on in your career, and now only a couple of weeks from graduating?
Wow. I mean, I've had just such a weird career with the Prospector, just because it's been so fast that I feel like I haven't really had much time to really think about it. But the Prospector has been so helpful. I mean, whenever you talk to employers, they always look for student publication experience. That is the main thing that journalism employers, I should say, are looking for when it comes to this sort of thing, right? And it was the main thing that got me started. As soon as I left the Prospector in December of 2022, in around February, March, I got the call from Dr. Boudreau. Dr. Boudreau is one of the photography professors here at UTEP, and she asked, "Hey, Albert, I have a friend over at the El Paso Times. They're looking for a photo intern. Are you interested? And can I give him your number?" And I've never responded to an email faster in my life. And I said, "Yes, absolutely. Here's my number. Please let me know." Shortly afterwards, in April, started working for the El Paso Times. And a lot of that was very much go, go, go. It is go time. They kind of expect you to understand what you're doing. Obviously, they will take time to teach you, and obviously they will take time to try and mold you into a much better photographer and as a journalist as a whole. But they do expect you to hit the ground running. Even at the Fort Worth Report, they expected you to hit the ground running, right? You had maybe the first day as like a simple orientation. Second day, you were doing reporting, right? You were already doing it. You were on the ground. You were doing interviews. You were taking your photos. If anything, maybe the one hiccup you should have was realistically how the system that they use works. So doing the Prospector, writing your captions, uploading them quickly, editing as quickly as possible, is such a good skill for young journalists to have. And I think the one thing I would highly suggest, though, is just be susceptible to criticism, right? Like, not just people beating down on you, but like real, genuine criticism that people are trying to give you to try and help your work, especially if it's something that you've never done before. I mean, I've been doing photography since my sophomore year of high school. And even now, I'm still learning. I'm still asking people for help. I'm still asking for questions. I'm still asking how they would have maybe edited a certain photo, because what I may think is great may only be good to someone else's eyes, right? There's always a way to improve. And I think the Prospector is a phenomenal way to improve, because you're in a large newsroom with so many people, and so many people who want to be great, who want to be creative, who want to tell stories just like you do. And being around all those people at once is such an incredible way to grow, right? It's quick, because you only have 4 years of college realistically and during your bachelor's, but it's so helpful, and it helps people grow so much. I mean, when you look at newsrooms, everyone does student newspapers.
I remember when Emmanuel, our former EIC, who now works for K-Fox, brought Albert in the office, and I was extremely confused. I'm sorry, man. I didn't know who you were. It wasn't until I was scrolling through Instagram where I said this guy was EIC. So my first thing is he 30 and completing an undergraduate degree? I realized that wasn't the case. Albert, the fact that you were EIC at 19 is extremely impressive. And I really appreciate the time you took not only to write an opinion piece for our website, but at the same time, hopping on the podcast. We wish you the best. You great take photos. Follow him on Instagram. I gave Matthew a chance to say a couple of words in the last segment, and I didn't do that because he's a politician, but because he took his time with us. So, Albert, I'm going to do the same thing to you. You can say whatever you want. It could be hopeful. It could be a slight plug. Follow him on Instagram. I don't know. It could be whatever you'd like, Albert.
My Instagram is albert.sf08. If you'd like to follow me there and keep up with any of my work that I continue doing, I will try and upload as many of my work as I possibly can, but I'm very bad at Instagram. I think just the one thing I want to say is some advice that I was given by a former NHJ member, Estefania, who I knew for a long time. And that's always to take up as much space as you possibly can, right? A lot of like 80% of UTEP students are Hispanic, or at least the vast majority of UTEP students are a form of a minority. And I think when it comes to journalism and media space in general, the most important thing that I want people to understand is that you should take up space, right? As Hispanics, as Latinos, we need to be loud, and we need to be known, right? Take up as much space as you possibly can, no matter where it is you work, even if it's at a McDonald's, even if it's out working at the El Paso Times, even if it's working for CNN. You need to make your voice heard, because if not, no one's going to take you seriously. So take up as much space as possible. Do not be afraid to use your voice. It took me for way too long to find my voice, and I'm so glad that I did, because now I'm here doing a podcast about my experience at UTEP. Now I've graduated with a bachelor's degree, and it's something I couldn't have done if I didn't speak up for myself, if I didn't use my voice, if I didn't learn how to write. So yeah, just take up as much space as you ever possibly can, because you deserve to be there just as much as other people. You know, maybe they have Ivy League degrees, but that doesn't matter, because UTEP students always outwork these kids. And that's what I am so proud of, being a UTEP student.
Guys, I didn't bring my tissues. Did you? No one brought their tissues. Albert, thank you so much. The original plan for this podcast when I got the role was to keep it 20 minutes. I think we're gonna go for an hour easily here because up next we've got Salma and we've got Joe. Both of them are graduating. Our final segment is gonna be with our boss who gave us all jobs, Avery. She's coming up soon. But stay tuned. You're watching the final episode of the Prospector Season 12 to the new AIC, whoever it is. Please rehire me. If anybody can plug, so can I. Everybody's plugging. Today's the plugging episode. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. More graduation content coming up next. Lava chicken. Steve, lava chicken. Joe, that's the last time I'm going to do that with you on this show. Welcome back to the Prospector Podcast, Season 12, Episode 8. Today, there's no official co-hosts because we're just subbing out. It's graduation time. Joe Ezequiel Montero, his last episode. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming here to co-host. Jess Garcia, your first time co-hosting. You guys are big buddies, so I paired them up in the same time. Salma, Joe, this is your guys' last segment on the Prospector Podcast. You guys are officially graduating. Salma, you've been here since Albert was here, right? So 3 years, started off as a work study, moved up all the way to editor, and now your time has come. It's over. Just take us through the journey. Your favorite moments, what you've learned, times you wanted to cry. Just spill it all out.
Okay. Well, yes, I came in as a work study because I was trying to pursue my career in photography after high school. After I did yearbook in high school, and I found out of the Prospector through Jobline back then. It's not called that anymore. Now it's like Handshake or whatever. And after I submitted my application, I got an email the day after. And, well, yeah, Vero and Isa interviewed me, and they're like, yeah, you're more than welcome to come in. I'm like, okay, cool. So I got, good office experience, but I didn't want to, fully commit yet just because I feel like I wasn't prepared yet. But I saw Albert work. I saw how the staff at the time worked, and it seemed really fun. Not super laid back, which is fine because it's a news environment. It's not supposed to be super laid back, but they made it seem like a really fun environment. So I applied as contributor the next semester, and I got in. I remember just being really scared because I've done photography but nothing news. And I don't think photography from yearbook really correlates into journalism photography. And I just, being really nervous and scared. I was very antisocial just as a work study and contributor. And now being kind of pushed on, you feel okay, these are your assignments, you gotta get it done. I'm like, okay. I was a contributor for I think 2-3 semesters. I can't really remember, but I remember just really little by little just gaining confidence. It was until last spring, a year ago, 3 semesters ago, where Eric hired me, and I think that really boosted my confidence. And he told me himself that when he became editor-in-chief, okay, I want you and my staff. And I'm like, that really just gave me the push, okay, I really need to push myself to be the best version of myself that I could be. And since then, I've learned, but I've also failed a lot. I've learned from my mistakes, I think, and I think I'm still going to be continuing from my mistakes as a photographer, but the more the merrier. I'm still going to keep improving. I think now, it's coming to an end. I'm still going to pursue photography, just it won't be as, I guess, quote-unquote, hectic as in the journalism field, but comparing myself to when I started a contributor, oh man, I think people even say they see me wow, you're actually talking, just because I was so quiet. I was too scared to look people in the eye.
Now Salma loves to roast. Yeah. This guy. I can't say those roasts because we would get age restricted.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess social battery. I'm just playing.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Well, I hope I was joking in those times. But yeah, I think it's really helped me out of my shell, as you could see. I have no shame. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I think I've really become a more confident person since I've started.
Well, I think, well, I didn't know you when you started, right? Joe, did you know Salma before you started at the Prospector?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. But I agree with that. And I think the biggest awe moment for me was that we threw you in 2 segments on the first episode of this season, which meant thorough. Thank you for sticking around, Salma. I mean, getting to work with you last semester, we worked the whole football game together. Having her as a photo editor, like you're a leader I look up to a lot, and one of the reasons why I felt at home in the Prospector. You were a great editor, and I'm glad that you could be on the staff one more semester, and hope we're not making the editor positions really bad. Really, really bad. But thank you, Salma. I learned a lot from you in the 2 semesters that we've had together. I did not take any good photos, but that is not the point. That is not the point. You've been more than a tremendous help, Salma, and I'm eternally grateful. Joe, on the other hand, guys, I'm sorry to interrupt. There is a man from TV here. This is come in the shot.
He's standing right behind
This
me.
is our EIC of last semester. Avery, forget the text I sent you. Discard that. It's okay. He's in K-Fox now. He's coming up in the next second. Joe, you on the other hand,
Yeah.
You're new to the Prospector. It's your first semester here.
First and last semester.
Exactly. What have been the best moments you've lived through? The worst moments, the craziest ones, the ones where you went rock climbing with Jess, stuff like that.
You know, so before I started Prospector, I kind of like switched my major from digital DMP, so digital media production, to journalism. Not on a whim, but maybe a little on the whim. Like I felt like when I was in digital media, I had a passion for it, and I lost that passion. I was like, okay, maybe I need to change. So I switched over to journalism. I started real good at the beginning. I kind of lost that passion again, and honestly, this job has just like brought it back in in more than I could ever even like imagine it would. I remember last semester when I applied, I got the random email. Any day, so I work as a work study. We're UTEP facilities. Every single day, I open my email, delete all of them. I don't read my emails. For some reason, my mind just told me, read your email. So I read my email. And then it was like, oh, Prospector's hiring. I was like, oh, that's that newspaper thingy.
Newspaper thingy?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the newspaper I pick up to put my dog poop in.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. I was like, oh, that's the student media thingy. I could do that, and that seems kind of cool. So I applied, forgot about it. I get an email from our EIC. I got it from Avery. And I had met Avery beforehand, and she was like, oh, this is the interview, this and that. I applied. She was like, I'm going to bring you on as staff. And I was like, well, okay. I do not know what that means, but sure, sign me up. And, like, throughout the whole semester, like, it's just brought, like, my passion and, like, love for, like, writing and journalism back, like, more than I could ever even imagine. You know what I mean? And I think also, like, a real blessing that this, like, job has brought me is that, like, this semester has been rough for me. I'm not going to even, like, try and sugarcoat it. Like, personal stuff, school stuff, work stuff, like
Borderzine.
Life stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that too.
Borderzine.
Yeah. So a lot of things had been like kicking my butt and whatnot. So one thing I really like love about this job is I would come in every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Friday, every single week in, week out, and I would have just like such a great time at the office. Like just everybody in the office is such a blessing. And like everybody, like I've met like 2 of my closest friends now who I consider like family. Like I love these people. And
Stop. Don't look at me.
yeah, so I actually wrote my before I talk about that.
It's out already, so by the time we upload this, it
By the
gets
time,
spoiled.
okay,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
So
Yours too, Salma. I mean, it should be out by the time this
yeah.
episode.
So you know, some of the best times I can think of this job is, for one, just like writing some of these stories. Like there were so many where I was just like, wow, like I didn't think I would enjoy writing it or take such a passion with it. And just like at first I would be like, oh, I don't know what to write. And like, you know, an hour later I have this like article written out where I'm like, I wrote that, you know what I mean? And so, obviously some of my favorite parts of this job was honestly as stressful as it was. Every single production day before print day was always so much fun. Just like getting to be in the office with like everybody, you know what I mean? Learning more about everybody, just like it felt like a family, you know what I mean? And so now going to this, I wrote my farewell piece, and I don't know, like I haven't been here a long time, but like writing it was tough, you know what I mean? I had just grown like so accustomed to like being in the office that like now I'm losing it. And like I've been here for like not a long time at all. Like I think out of everybody in this room, I've been here like the shortest amount of time. And so like with like Jess and Kristian, I came on with them. And so like I didn't know anybody in this office, so I was like, okay, well, I don't know, man, I'll talk to these guys. They look cool. And now they're like my closest friends. I talk to them every single day. We hang out like every other day. Everything's a 2 to 3 person job. But then even more so than that, like everybody in the office is so friendly, so nice that like it feels like a family, you know? Families bicker and whatnot, families tease one another. And like that's really what I love about the Prospector, is that it's just felt like support and family and just all of that. You know what I mean?
Before I lose the chance, I just want to say publicly that Selma sucks at playing the cello.
Oh
She's
my
terrible.
Oh my god.
She's terrible at playing the cello. I want the whole world to know that.
I know.
Yeah, no, I feel fine now. Thanks,
I've
Sebastian.
never played the cello ever.
No,
I've
she's
never
lying.
touched it.
She's lying.
Oh my
She's lying.
God.
Jess, I see you tearing up in the corner.
Yeah, I'm an emotional person, guys. Just give me a moment.
So before we end off this part of the segment, I'll give you guys the room. Say whatever you want. It could be a blatant ad. It could be the start of the announcement of your GoFundMe page. GoFund my life. Or it could be a message. Joe, we'll start with you. Anything you want to leave us off with?
To anybody watching, or like everybody in the room, honestly. Like I see Cam, I see Kristian, I see Jess, I see Salma, I see Avery and Emmanuel. They're leaving. They're graduating, but they've been here way longer than I have. So I mean, I probably don't have advice that they could take, but definitely for you guys, like that you're staying. You too. You're super young but super talented. Like all of you are. Like you guys are some of the most talented people I've ever met in my life. Photos, writing, even just like your guys' work ethic, like all of that. You guys are just so impressive to me, so talented, and honestly just like hold on to that. Like keep that passion, keep that drive, and if you lose it, it's gonna come back to you. So that's my advice for you guys coming back. Just, you know, like love what you do, but do what you love.
Oh gosh. I didn't even prepare, but it seemed like you prepared that for days.
Oh, I
that was so
didn't.
good. Oh wow. Just being at the Prospector so long, I've seen so many people come and go, but I can for sure say this has been like my favorite group this semester. And right now I don't feel it, but I know like my last day, like at the banquet that
Oh
we're
my
gonna
gosh,
have,
same.
like
I feel it slightly, but like no,
it's gonna be hard.
yeah.
I whenever I walk into the office, I'm like, okay, I can like relax a bit, you know. It's time to have fun and like work at the same time, but
It's time to be distracted for 4 hours.
Absolutely.
for sure.
Honestly, I love the
Yeah.
office. Can't get a
I
damn thing done in
I
there.
can't do anything in there.
That I like the office about that, but yeah, like Joseph said, just being able to meet so many people and talented people, and just like I'm really excited for you guys to see what's gonna happen within the next few years. And I guess like a single line of advice: just be okay with your mistakes and keep moving forward. You know, you guys are gonna learn a lot, and again, I'm very excited for you all.
Yeah.
Just don't give up. It's gonna get tough, but keep going.
To add on to that, just like those mistakes, you're gonna make them.
Mm-hmm.
There's no denying that everybody's gonna mistake every now and then, but you know, don't like let it drag you down. Like take that, build off of it, like learn something from it. Especially like you and like Cam, you guys are very young, but like you guys are at like such a high level, such an incredible level that like you guys are just like so like inspiring, so like, you know, impressive.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for everything. I miss you guys.
Thanks, guys. I'm gonna
This-
miss you guys so much.
this is-
Oh.
Man. All right.
Okay.
The heartache is not over yet. Dear the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, I am incredibly sorry. I'm going to be incredibly late to this meeting that we have after this, but it is totally worth it because for the last segment, we're saying goodbye to our former bosses. So thank you guys. We'll be back. It's a special edition of the Prospector Podcast because it's like an hour episode with 4 segments. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the final episode of this semester. We have reached the final segment of not just this episode, which has been a crying fest, but this entire semester. Cam, before we end off, any closing thoughts? Like our performance, what's our ranking on the podcast scale of Texas?
I think we did a great job with it. I think you've inspired. You took this podcast to new heights, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, bro.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Speaking of that, right here, the 2 people who gave me and Cam a job and who allowed me to quit Corner Bakery. We have Avery Escamilla-Wendell, our editor-in-chief currently, who is graduating. Next to me, her husband, Emmanuel Rivas Valenzuela, who is not making his podcast debut per se, or is that, but is making it in this semester because he doesn't work with us anymore. But he was EIC in the fall, and now he's working for K-Fox. I mean, where do we get started? Avery, you worked for the Prospector since you were a freshman. You worked your way, sophomore.
Yeah.
Sophomore.
Sophomore.
My apologies.
No, you're good.
I thought freshman. Okay, sophomore, freshman, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
A couple months.
Okay. Strike number 1. I got my first strike at least April. I can't get fired anymore. Maybe. Anywho, so you started all the way as an underclassman and you worked your way up. So what was the journey like? How was it when you started and how is it now as you cross the finish line?
Oh man. Oh. Bye.
Bye, Salma. Salma's walking out the door for the last time. And she's gone. Salma's gone. Erased from history.
Clear history. Anyways, I would say it was a little rough. I came in not knowing anything, and I had to teach myself a lot, which was really hard because I was scared of disappointing everyone. But I don't know. I quickly got the hang of it. It kind of just felt like I was trying to talk to a lot of people, and not really interviewed necessarily when I first started. It was just like starting up a conversation. And like I mentioned, it was a little rough. When I was multimedia editor, I basically trained myself. And then going from there, I kind of just learned my way of what works for me and what doesn't. And yeah, I mean, taking 5 classes mostly every semester was a little rough too, but I'm here. I survived.
So you guys are both EICs. You're also married at the same time. So that's a big thing a couple can bond over. What was your time like, Emmanuel? Now reflecting on it, seeing the job you have, a full-time job in the business, I mean, was the years you put into it since when you started to your editor positions to EIC, was it all worth it?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like I knew early on when I started like my little journalism career, if you could call it that yet.
This guy's on TV. This guy's giving real hard news on KFox 14.
No, I feel like there's a lot of traits that I learned at the Prospector, at the Prospector and Montero magazine that really just applied to the internships I had, and obviously this job. Obviously, it's to like a different level just because it's more demanding, but you have a lot of those fundamentals there, and I feel like they're super valuable. If you're like on the fence about maybe joining, it's like, is this the right place for me? I think it is if you're really serious about a career in journalism. And this doesn't go just for like the Prospector or like the magazine. This goes for like everywhere you go. If you get a chance to write for your school paper, I think it's something you should do, even if you're not a journalism major. I mean, here we have a lot of individuals who just aren't in journalism course-wise, but they do a great job. And you know, I'll talk to people who have been in the field for decades now. They'll say like, writing is like one of the most invaluable things. I know people joke a lot about communication majors and, well, you speak English, don't you? That should be enough. You don't really need a career in that, but you'll go out into the real world and you'll see people don't know how to write, don't know how to read, they don't know how to comprehend. And so at the risk of going on a tangent, if you have the chance, if you're in a different field, take advantage of writing, of reading. People, as kind of common sense as it is, it might not be for other people. And so you might be a finance major who says, oh, that's silly. I don't need to be writing for my school paper. But people in the real world, like the New York Times, the Washington Post, these bigger publications, they'll go to people who know how to write, who are in these fields to write about a certain topic. Right now on finance, right, if you were working in I don't know, accounting, I don't know if you're a big accountant somewhere, and you don't know how to write, well, you're kind of missing on our opportunity to kind of help people understand what's going on, for example, with these tariffs, how the stock market's reacting, how other countries are reacting. That's just another like line of revenue if it's for the money, but also just the recognition. Obviously, it's a big part of it, and just being able to help people. So I think looking back at the sleepless nights, I think it's been, I mean, how many semesters did I clock in? Like, I started in 21.
As a freshman or as a sophomore?
Sophomore. So it was my second semester. So not 21, 22. I want to say like 6 semesters. I'm bad at math, so just grain of salt. But yeah, I mean, just all the sleepless nights, the stresses, the worries about trying to find an interview. It's led me to where I am today, and I'm super grateful for it. Just having the support, being in a place where you're allowed to make mistakes without it feeling super high stakes, I think also benefited me a lot. Now, I mean, I still struggle with like imposter syndrome, all that good stuff. But if I were to just jump into this job right now without the experience I had, I'd be a very different journalist. I'd probably be a lot worse off than where I am today. But yeah, I mean, if you're on the fence, try it for a semester. If you don't like it, then that's fine. That's fine. You tried it. That's all you have to really do.
If there's one moment in particular that you can point back to and say, this is the moment where I was proud to represent the Prospector, UTEP, SMP, what would it be?
I can go first.
Yeah, you can go first.
This was very early on. It was my first semester. So a little context. When I started, I didn't have like any journalism experience. The people I would talk to at the time, they all had some type of like yearbook experience or something. I had nothing. Like I had what I would read online and what I would watch on the news with my parents at night when I was growing up, and that's it. And so my first semester, I was a sports editor, typically like an editor position, you kind of work up to it. But they were kind of desperate for people, so I was an exception. So I know like, oh, this could make or break a lot for me down the line. A lot of pressure, right? I put on myself, but I didn't want to limit myself to sports when I was there, and so this was during the 2022 gubernatorial election here in Texas. Both Beto O'Rourke at the time, who was running for governor, and Governor Greg Abbott were in town. So we got to go cover Greg Abbott, his rally in West El Paso, and that was really something for me because we were surrounded by a bunch of other professional news outlets, one of which I am working for now, right? But that felt like a really good moment for me, just because like I stepped out of my comfort zone. I was working well with the people that were there. We sent out Photog, who I work with now at KFOX. It just felt like really nice to feel like I belonged. And again, this was maybe like a month into me being like a journalism major, period. I'm covering a gubernatorial race, and so that's very unique, and so I'm very grateful for that, and I feel like we did a good job just working with that as a team. Albert, who you had on earlier, he was there. He was a great help. I obviously was going through some like anxieties, like, oh shoot, this is like a really big deal. And so just having him there and a couple other people there kind of just, it felt less stressful than what I initially had thought. And ultimately, I was proud of the coverage we gave. one of the bigger elections in the state at that time, and so even to like give a little piece of coverage into that really big environment, that was really good for me. I really enjoyed it. Kind of made me realize journalism is it. This is what I want to do.
Oh, dang. Well, I guess my moment was when my first story was published. When I started, it was, I think, 3 staff reporters, right? Or was it 2?
I think it was
Me and Eric.
Eric.
It was me.
Yeah.
It was 2 staff reporters and 3 contributors. And so it was really stressful because I didn't know what I was getting myself into, just because the semester prior I had joined and then immediately left and quit. So I picked up a story about the college students that were murdered in Idaho, just because I remembered that was going on, and I wanted to write about how safety was implemented here at UTEP to make sure that students feel safe and not fearing of that possibly happening on campus. So seeing that story in print and actually not having a lot of, I guess, critiques on that story was really awesome, because I remember I got home immediately after that budget, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I looked over all the handbooks, and I tried to interview as many people as I knew of at the time. But I think seeing that story was really awesome. It kind of made me feel important and that I mattered at the time. But yeah.
And my question to you is, how this semester with, me and Sebastian and the rest of the staff, how's it prepared for your experience, about to graduate and stuff? What can you take from it, or the principles you learned being in EIC?
Yeah, I've had a lot of interviews these last 2 weeks, like back to back. So it's been really crazy.
Just came from one, too.
I won't say where though. Not yet.
It's a top secret.
Yeah, shh. But I think it's helped me a lot because they see that on your resume, and editor-in-chief, and they're like, whoa, what did you do there? And I talk really highly about you guys, just because you guys have started very quickly, and you were kind of just thrown in to what you needed to know. And I mentioned how you guys are hardworking, and I think with as much as I tried to do as editor-in-chief, I think I try to believe that I helped you all a lot, and I think that's prepared me, because I feel like I've been more of a leader this semester, and I've been able to help you all a lot. So I think going from there, it's been this is so sad. It's been making me realize that maybe I am important to journalism, and I'm not. Sometimes I feel like a fraud. So I guess recently in these interviews, when they've asked me that, and then I speak about you guys, it's just like, whoa, I guess I did do a lot. But I guess when it comes to preparing me, it makes me feel like I'm already in the real world, just because I'm trying to control everything. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, it does. Thank you.
It does.
It does.
It does, definitely. I mean, you guys gave
Sorry.
me and Cam the most amazing opportunity, and that is giving us a chance as freshmen. Emmanuel, you hired me unproven. I had only high school stuff and radio stuff on my application. You and Adam Regalado literally opened the door for me and allowed me the opportunity to grow while unproven and unknown. And for that, I am quite literally forever in your debt. Avery, you took a chance on making an editor of a freshman. I hope I haven't run this into the ground yet.
No, it was a difficult decision, but I knew I could trust you enough to take it. And then I had forgotten you were still a freshman. So when I already had hired you, I was talking to Emmanuel about it, and I was like, he's still a freshman. Oh my God.
Sophomore
So I-
by credits. Sophomore by
Yeah,
credits,
yeah,
to be
yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah.
Sophomore. So there's a little bit of brains behind this power.
Yeah.
But you guys quite literally are one of the biggest reasons of why I look at UTEP in such a different lens. Back when I entered, I had the mentality of, I'm going to transfer after 2 years. And like debate, the Prospector gave me a home. It gave me people who would be there for me thick and thin, not just professionally, but personally. And nothing nothing was demanded that you give me the opportunity, and yet you did. And every day I tried last semester, I tried this semester to make the most of it, because you guys put your trust in me, and that I am forever grateful for. Truly, thank you for everything you've taught the whole staff. It has been life-changing. So whatever happens next, you guys are going to crush it. You guys are going to have great careers out of yourself. It's more than obvious how much you care to teach people and to see the Prospector grow. And it's something that us as a staff are definitely going to carry on. You guys changed my life, and that I could say confidently. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything.
No, you got me teary-eyed, bro.
Are we ending this semester while crying? Tears?
Of course, it's the last episode.
It's the last episode. It is over. So before we end off, our studio booking is officially off. Thank you so much for joining us through these 8 episodes of the Prospector Podcast. It has meant the world that you have stuck around with us. We hope that there'll be more. We'll see what happens up in the summer and the fall. But for now, a huge thank you to Cameron Mason, Kristian Hernandez for co-hosting this thing with me. Every single one of our guests that we've had. Emmanuel Rivas Valenzuela for allowing me to be a staff reporter, work my way up, and Avery Escamilla-Wendell for supporting us through thick and thin, for allowing us to make content in which I think has changed a lot of what this podcast used to be, for giving us creative freedom, and that is quite literally amazing. So for now, it is officially time to close it up. 8 episodes, we made it through. We hope there'll be more. I'm Sebastian Perez-Navarro. This is the end of the Prospector Season 12, Episode 8. We, for now, are over and out.